Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have another meal prep video for you. I'm going to be making some cheeseburger mac, or this is kind of like a goulash. I don't know, kind of like both recipes. Cheeseburger mac, goulash, whatever you want to call it. We're doing some 2-ingredient dough pretzel bites. These turned out really good. I forgot about them, so that's a tip. Don't forget about them under the boiler. Then I'm going to be making my tried and true go-to breakfast sandwiches. I love these. These are great for the air fryer, great for on the go. And then I made more of my peanut butter homemade granola, and I made up some parfaits. And these are another good grab and go breakfast to have in the morning. We're going to start off with making the granola because it does take the longest. So in my cup here, I'm putting in 1/2 cup of peanut butter. Now I like to use the natural peanut butter because it's already kind of a runnier consistency. So I use this Adams 100% natural peanut butter, the creamy version. I just prefer this for my granola. Then I'm going to be using 1/2 cup of this harmless honey from Pyure. You can also use like syrup. You can use like a sugar-free syrup if you want to keep this really low calorie. But I'm just using this harmless honey, which is my favorite honey alternative. It's a little bit expensive. I get it off of Amazon, but well worth it. Then I'm going to do a teaspoon of vanilla, and I only had just a little bit of vanilla left, so I went ahead and just tossed it all in there. And then you want to stir this up. Now, if you are using a peanut butter that's not runny, then I would suggest going ahead and putting it in the microwave to make it a little bit easier to stir up. And then next you're going to need 5 cups of oats. Now I like to use the old-fashioned oats, not the quick cooking oats, because you want your flakes to be, a little bit larger. The quick oats tend to be just little tiny bits of flakes. So you just want to put your peanut butter, honey, vanilla mixture in there, and you're just going to stir this. Now it's going to take a little bit of work to get this mixed up really well, but just keep working at it. And again, that's why you want to make sure it's kind of a runnier consistency. So again, if you're using just a regular peanut butter, just put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds and heat it up, and that'll liquefy your peanut butter with that honey or syrup, whatever you're using. So just work on it really well until it's nice and combined. And then we're going to take a cookie sheet. You want to take a pretty big baking sheet, and you want to line it with parchment paper. And then you're just going to press this peanut butter oat mixture into the pan, and you want to press it down really well. And then this makes, for me, I notice that when I press it in there really well, it tends to make a crispier granola, because one thing, you're spreading it all out, so you're getting a pretty thin layer. But also when it cooks together, it bakes all together, and then you're going to, it'll be a little bit crispier. So this is going to go into a 275-degree oven for 20 minutes. Once it comes out, we're going to break that up and we're going to put it back in, but I'll show you what that next step looks like. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and start our lunch for the week, which is going to be a cheeseburger mac. But once I started making this, I realized it's really more like a goulash. There was 2 recipes that I saw on Pinterest, so I will put those 2 recipes down below in the description box that were kind of my inspiration. So first up, we are going to put a little bit of avocado oil in there. I'm using my crockpot that also has like saute settings and all that on there. This will just be a lot easier for me. Still not feeling the best, not 100% yet. So any kind of crockpot easy meals are like what I'm all for right now. So I do have it on the saute setting, and I'm going to put in some onion, and then I did chop up quite a few veggies to go along with this, and you can just put whatever you want in there. The recipes that I found on Pinterest used cauliflower and green pepper, but I just used what I had on hand. I did have some cauliflower in hand, but I don't know, honestly, like again, I was not feeling well, so I did not feel like chopping it up. So use whatever you have on hand. This is a great way to get your veggies in, which is one of my goals for 2022, is to eat more veggies. So I have some onion, I have a whole entire green bell pepper, and then I have some carrots, some celery, and some zucchini. So that's everything that I chopped up. And then I'm going to saute these up and get a nice grill on them. I'm also going to add in some spices. So I am going to be using the 21 seasoning salute from Trader Joe's. I love that seasoning because it has pretty much everything in it, which is exactly what I wanted. Next up, I'm going to add in a pound of ground turkey. Again, you can use whatever you want in this: ground turkey, ground beef, ground chicken. Ground turkey is just a little bit leaner, so I'm just going to add in the ground turkey. You don't have to cook this all the way through since it is going to be cooked in the crock pot. I'm going to be cooking this on high. I did add in a little bit more seasoning, the same seasoning on top, the 21 seasoning salute. I like to season all of my layers. Then we're adding in a can of tomato sauce on top of that. I kind of wish I would have had another can of tomato sauce. I did not. I only had the one can. But don't drain anything because you want to have some liquid. This turned out okay, so I wasn't too worried about it. I'm going to add in 2 cans of these diced tomatoes. I do tend to try to either get low sodium or no salt diced tomatoes normally if they have them in stock, just because I like to control my sodium and add in my own salt. But since these I did not have any in stock, I went ahead and just got these ones, and then I just did not add in any extra salt in there. So I just want to add all of that in there, give it a good stir, and then we're going to add in our noodles. So I am using the Fiber Gourmet noodles. I get these off of Nutrition. I love these noodles. They are so good. They're low calorie. They're lower carb. I just like them because they're a little bit lower calorie. They taste just like regular noodles. They have a lot of fiber in them. Now, I did pre-cook these for about 4 to 5 minutes. I didn't want to cook them all the way through because it is going to be in the crock pot, but I didn't want to put totally raw noodles in there because I was afraid they would not get cooked through. So I did just put them in there. I cooked them for about 4 or 5 minutes. So I'm going to stir that up, and then I'm going to set this to the slow cooker setting on high, and I'm going to cook this for 4 hours. While that is cooking, we're going to go ahead and get our breakfast sandwich eggs ready. So these are egg whites from Kroger. I don't like these ones very well. I'm going to stop getting these ones. They're a little bit cheaper than the other egg whites, but I don't know, something about the consistency of these. I don't like how they cook up. And I don't know, just not a fan of these, so I'm not going to get those ones anymore. I'm just going to pay a little bit extra money for the other egg whites. Anyway, so I have some red pepper flakes and some onion salt that I'm going to put on these. I will have this pan linked down below, or a pan just like it linked down below. I got it off of Amazon. They don't have this one anymore, but they have one similar. So this is going to go into the oven at 350 for 8 minutes. So I have my granola here that I'm going to go ahead and break up. So this is what it looks like after 20 minutes. So this is going to go back into the oven for 15 minutes. And actually, now that I think about with my breakfast sandwiches, I just went ahead and put them into the 375-degree oven for my egg whites. And I just cooked them for the rest of the time that this granola was cooking. But normally I do them at 350 for 8 minutes. But since they're going in at this 275, I'm going to do them for 15 minutes. So this is going to go back into the oven. And now we're going to start on something that I completely forgot about, and that was doing some 2-ingredient dough things. I did these, I don't know, a few months ago. I made a couple 2-ingredient dough things and then completely forgot. But I'm going to be making some pretzel bites. I actually was going to make actual pretzels, but it didn't turn out very well. So I have some self-rising dough. I have some Fai yogurt, and then I have this pretzel flavoring from One-on-One Flavors. This is totally optional. You don't have to use that flavoring. I did get them off of the website, the One-on-One Flavor website. I don't know if you can get it off of Amazon. I will see what I can find and link whatever I can find down below. But I'm going to be doubling the recipe that I'll have linked down below. So I have a cup of self-rising flour, a cup of yogurt, and then I'm just putting in a little bit, like a whole dropper full of this pretzel flavoring. Now, I always leave out a little bit of flour that I like to use on my board. So I did not put 1 full cup of flour in here. I did leave out a little bit in my measuring cup, as you can see over there off to the side. And again, that's what I use for my board. That way I'm not adding in those extra calories, or if you're on Weight Watchers, it adds in extra points if you are adding more flour to your board than what's going into your bowl. So if it calls for a cup of flour, do like 3/4 of a cup and leave about a 1/4 cup out that you can use on your board and just incorporate while you're kneading. So I'm going ahead and knead this mixture. I'm just going to knead it up really well, and then I'm going to separate it out into 4 equal parts, and then I'm going to make some ropes. And theoretically, like I said, I was going to be making actual pretzels, but the 2-ingredient dough is a little bit hard to work with sometimes for me. It kind of falls apart a little bit, and I was having those issues, so I went ahead and just cut them up into pretzel bites. Now that I have my bites out here on my baking sheet, I'm just going to brush them with a little bit of egg wash. So I just took 1 whole egg, whipped it up, added a little bit of water to it, and now I'm just spreading that all over the pretzel bites here. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some pink Himalayan salt on top of that. If you have like any of that little like coarse like kosher salt, I would suggest that as well. I did not have any of that. And then these are going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. And then after the 20 minutes, you're going to turn on the broiler and then you're going to cook it for like 2 minutes. And that's it. Don't leave them in there for 5 like I did, because you're going to get a little bit crispier texture. But I'll show you what they look like when they get all done. Now that the granola is all ready, we're going to go ahead and make our parfait. So I have a 1/4 cup measuring cup here. I'm going to put in a 1/4 cup of the granola on the bottom of the cup. And then we're going to do a 1/2 cup of the yogurt. I'm using the Dan & Light & Fit vanilla yogurt. I do prefer regular yogurt in parfaits versus using Greek yogurt. I just think they work out better. I like how it tastes. So this is what I'm using. Is 80 calories, 5 grams of protein. I'm going to be using a cup total in these parfaits. So I'm going to be adding in a 1/2 cup of the yogurt on top of the granola. I started putting berries in there, but I decided to do the berries in the middle and on the top. So I'm going to be putting a 1/2 cup of granola, 1/2 cup of yogurt on this layer. Then we'll be doing another layer of the granola and the fruit. So I'll be doing another 1/4 cup of granola in the middle, a 1/4 cup of berries in the middle, another 1/2 cup of the yogurt, and then we'll be topping off with some more berries on top of that. And then we're just going to be topping these off with some lids. I did get these cups off of Amazon. They're like drinking cups. That was what they are, because they have a little spot on top for a straw. But these are really nice and portable. You could have like a plastic spoon, put it into the top, and it's just ready to go. These are great for grab and go. My son likes to have these. He grabs them and goes when he heads off to work. But they stay in the refrigerator for as long as the yogurt's good. The granola, since it's so nice and crispy, it does not get very soft. It usually lasts for at least 3 or 4 days in the refrigerator without getting soft. And then I just store the rest of my granola in just a mason jar, and you can stay on your counter for 2 to 3 weeks, and it tastes just fine. And I absolutely love it. So good. Next up, we're going to do our breakfast sandwiches. This is my tried and true like breakfast sandwich recipe. So I have my Thomas English muffins, 100 calories. I do not toast them because I do put these into the air fryer. That's the reason why I am using parchment paper and foil. This is, for me, the best way to keep the breakfast sandwiches. Also, if you want to throw them in the freezer, this keeps them from getting like freezer burnt. But they're great when you put these into the air fryer because it kind of steams the sandwiches plus makes them crispy. So I'm just putting 2 of those little egg patties on there, 2 slices of Canadian bacon. Sometimes I use turkey bacon, sometimes I use turkey sausage. I just felt like Canadian bacon this week. And then you just put in a slice of cheese on top. I do prefer the Sargento white cheddar cheese for this, but the aged white cheddar, but they have been out of it everywhere. They have not had it in my stores. And this Kraft 2% American cheese is less calories, but I really do love the aged white cheddar Sargento. So I will be getting that next time if I can ever find it in the stores. So I'm just going to continue assembling my sandwiches. And again, these are good for grab and go. Just toss them in my air fryer at 400 for 5 minutes. They came out crispy. The cheese is melty. These are fantastic. And again, if you don't eat them all, you can just throw them into the freezer. And actually, sometimes I just put them in the freezer and then I just grab one out in the morning and just throw them in my air fryer and just cook them a little bit longer. But this is what they look like. Absolutely love these. My goulash, or my pretzel bites, they're done. Here's my pretzel bites. They turned out amazing, except for they did get a little bit crispy on top. So yeah, there's that. And here is my goulash. I'm going to add on some of this Mexican style cheese, goulash, cheeseburger mac, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put some cheese on top. I do have a little bit left over. I just made 6 servings total. And then I'll just add a little bit of that cheese on top and then just reheat these. And these turned out absolutely amazing. Much as always for taking time out of your day to watch my video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Check out the description box for any links to recipes and all of that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.